roll. It's basically what you want mostly done, so that it will finish cooking in the oven. I'm going to melt a couple of tablespoons of butter here, and we'll work on our cheese sauce. When that's melted, we'll add a couple tablespoons of flour and stir that around until it's all mixed together. So once the butter's melted, sprinkle 2 tablespoons of flour over the 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You want to stir it around and let it cook for just a couple minutes. You don't want to burn it, but you want to cook that floury stuff out of it a little bit. And get it to a paste. And then we're going to add between a cup and a cup and a half of milk. I'm just eyeballing. And we'll stir that around. It'll smooth out the sauce. That flour and butter mixture will meld into that and it will start to thicken. I'm going to add some garlic powder. It wouldn't be our cooking without garlic. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon of garlic powder, more or less, usually more. Whether or not you add salt is up to you. Usually the cheese is salty enough that it doesn't need a little bit of pepper. Will be fine. I'm going to add some minced onion to this, dried minced onion. You can chop up fresh and add it in. So I'm going to add just a little bit of ground mustard. I like the country style. It just adds a little bit of flavor. And I'm going to add just a pinch of nutmeg. Always add that to my cheese sauce. It's just a little something that kind of adds just a little bit of flavor. You don't know that the mustard's or the nutmeg is there. Just mix that in and cook it over a medium heat, and you'll have to stir it fairly regularly until it starts to thicken, and then we'll add about a half of a, oh, what size is that block? It's about a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, maybe a little more. And you want to stir it frequently, especially as it starts to thicken. You want to cook it just till it comes to a boil. You'll see it will have thickened some. It won't be thick, but it's more like a thin to medium white sauce. And once it comes to that low boil, you want to cook it for about a minute. You're just cooking the flour so it's not a raw tasting flour. And then we're going to add the shredded cheese. So there's about a cup of shredded cheese. I'm going to dump that in. I'm going to add about between a quarter and a half cup of Parmesan cheese to that, grated Parmesan. And I'm going to add a little bit of Velveeta. I like a little Velveeta in my cheese sauce, though the recipe does not call for it. And we'll go from there. So you just want to stir that over medium heat until all the cheese is melted together. It'll take a little bit longer. I did about an inch wide slice of the Velveeta off the block and broke that up in there, and I'm just waiting for that. So that'll give it a little bit more of a yellow hue. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like. We like cheddar in our cheese sauce. You can use Monty Jack or anything else that you like. We tend to like the extra sharp, but I like the combination of the extra sharp with the little bit of Velveeta in it. So when this is all melted, we'll dump in. I've got my broccoli and cauliflower are all steamed. They're about 3/4 cooked. And we'll add that in, and I've got probably a little over a cup of diced ham. that we'll add. I've got my oven preheating to 425. That's going to go into a greased casserole dish, and we'll go from there. So it's all mixed together. Just pour it into the casserole dish.
Greased.
Yep. Easy cleanup. There was enough cheese sauce there. I could have done a little bit more veggies, but that's plenty for us. So I mixed together about a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs with about a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. Those are seasoned breadcrumbs. Mixed that together, sprinkled it over the top. It's ready to go in the oven. I'm going to check it in about 20 minutes. It's probably, I'm thinking, closer to 30 to get it really bubbly and browned. But we'll check it in 20 just to see how far off we are. So this is after about 25 minutes. I don't know if you can see, it's all bubbly around the edges and it's nicely browned, and that's what you want. It smells good. We'll try it out. Hopefully it'll taste as good as it looks and smells.